Round 3. When do these reinforcements come in? On turn 3, roll a d6. If the result is 6, indicates the wolves will enter the board from the northwest corner up here. So, roll a 6. If the result is not 6, roll again at the beginning of the next succeeding turn and add 1 to the roll. So, you can see it's kind of a ticking clock before these wargs get involved. No wargs on turn number 3. So that was change of environmental conditions. Again, are we doing any charges, magic, anything like that, missile fire? I think in all cases here, we're going to still do missile fire at these mounted riders. They're going to all concentrate on one rider. It's going to be this closest one. And these guys are going to take the opportunity to move more than half. If I look at the modifiers on page 60, if I look at the the missile modifiers on page 67, attacker moves more than half a move, subtract 1. So I can move a half a move without getting that subtraction. These are considered light. Light can move 8 if I move less than half. So if I move 3.5 inches, 3 3/4 inches, then that rule is not implicated. So we're going, or that modifier is not implicated. So we're going to move these up about 3 3/4 each. And now, the distance, though, was measured from the beginning of the round. So it was still long range last round. So they're still stuck with that long range modifier, even though they moved up, but at least they don't get the additional penalty from their movement on this. Similar thing, these men, they've decided that the better thing to do is to get around these trees and to get a little closer here. The distance would have been from where it started. The line of sight here looks like we could concentrate our fire on that figure, the lead figure. But I think to be fair, we're going to still apply those -1 for long range and -1 for firing through the woods, because this movement was happening when they were lining up their shots. The men are going to try and push across here. These guys are locked in melee, so to speak. That's a rule that we will get to later. They could potentially disengage, but that would be bad. And the goblins are going to move up and fill in their casualty here. Now, the pikemen do matter to me, so I'm going to move these guys up and around and try and get a flank on this. And he can come in on the flank. So this pikeman's on the flank. And this guy is kind of on the edge of the hill, but I hate to penalize him in movement for that, because he's still kind of in the valley. This is a hill right here. This is a hill over here. So that move matters. And then we're just going to fill in goblins here. Okay, that's it for movement. Now the missile phase. You can see this is already starting to become rote. And if you've played Chainmail or BX and internalized this procedure, it's very similar, as it should be, because this is basically early D&D, looking at 1972 era, and all war games have kind of a similar flow to them. So, movement's complete, all the simultaneous movement. Missile fire. That's a no. That's a no. Keep rolling high. That's a no. And these guys, again, these guys have to roll below 5. So chances are near 0. Nothing. Missile fire not being very effective. That's it for missile fire. Melees. So again, we need, these guys did move into melee. And these guys were kind of pinned. This is where a referee needs to interpret, right? I'm going to say that this figure is on the defense. This guy needs to roll initiative. So we're going to give initiative to the goblins over here. So I'm just going to put a dice over here to kind of indicate the goblins have the initiative. And then for this pairing, looks like the man gets the initiative. So let's handle this attack first with the man. He's the attacker. The guy that lances over is the defender. He needs to roll, in this case, a 1 or a 2. He fails. Counter blows. Let's go ahead and handle the counter blows. Those guys each get to roll 1 dice and need a 1 to strike. 2 hits. Look at that. That's interesting. Now, this melee, we got 2 in front of him, but we've got 1 on the flank. And furthermore, see, we're going to add a little more complexity into the mix now. We can apply a melee modifier to this. So because there's only 1 figure on the flank, I'm going to give that figure a plus, I think it's a +1. Let's find it. We're looking at the melee modifiers, table 1-17. This is a figure, one figure attacking the flank or rear is a +1 to the flanking figure. So that person can score on a 1 or a 2. These two need a 1 to hit, and this guy needs a 1 or a 2. The goblins are going first, so let's do the 2 guys in front. No strikes. Oh, for the man, I forgot to do his armor save. He had to do 2 armor saves. Good grief. This guy is a light horseman. We already say he was half armored. He needs a better than a 4, and he has to do that twice to prevent being removed. You got a 10 and an 8. So he was not actually removed. I'm so sorry. His armor saved him. Well, the nimbleness of his horse. He's a light horse, but he gets to be treated as half armored because light horsemen are nimble. So even though he's kind of stuck here in this position, he still gets that benefit of the horse, stamping and whatever. Okay, so he was not removed. These guys, I got no hits, right? No hits on them. I don't remember what I did just now. I think I rolled these 2 guys and then got sidetracked. So I don't think they hit. Let's do the pikeman. He needs a 1 or a 2. He misses with a 3. Counter blow from the man. Needs to be a 1 or a 2. Gets a 4. Nothing. So that's the end of round 3. All right, here's a good time for me to point out. Arneson's players have told us that with monsters, sometimes that defensive save is eliminated, monsters being not as important as the PCs. You could interpret that also to mean that there's no need to do the defensive value for normal men. However, I would encourage you to think that Strategos A had a defensive value for normal men for a reason. Therefore, I would not remove this armor save at this point.